Hello. Welcome back to the Bougie Black Girls YouTube channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Dana, and today we are going to be talking about the spirit of giving around the holidays. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you guys know that I am chronically online, and something that was taking up a lot of my social media feeds in like mid to late November was this whole Angel Tree Gate drama. If you kind of need to be caught up to speed, Angel Tree is a program that essentially matches children with people who are able to donate clothing items as well as toys that they may want or need for the holidays if their families can't afford them. And there was one particular woman and her husband who adopted both a little boy and a little girl from the list, and the ways in which they were talking about the little girl, her request, and how she should or shouldn't be grateful were less than pleasant. And so I kind of don't want to add to the dog pile on that lady. I think the internet has kind of read her the riot act, rightfully so. But I do at least want us to dive into sort of this conversation about how do we lean into the spirit of charity and giving, you know, in the holidays and also other times of year without sort of being rude or dehumanizing the people that we are giving to. And I think that's a conversation that needs to be had a lot more online, and I would love to contribute to it just in any small way that I can. A positive of all this drama is that it did make me sign up for an Angel Tree program in my community, so I'm going to show you guys sort of how I chose to engage with that later on, but I want to dive into this conversation first. So if that is interesting to you, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's dive in. So when we talk about like charity and the spirit of giving, I think one of the biggest questions that comes up is, you know, is it wrong to share those things online? Is it wrong to share your community service outreach and efforts on the internet? And I think the blanket statement or the blanket answer to that is no, but there's a big old but that is coming. Over the past several years, I think there's this emerging genre of content that I've kind of dubbed poverty porn, and I'm not sure if somebody else has coined that term as well, but essentially it's like this genre of content that I think started on Facebook and has really boomed over the past 2 to 3 years on TikTok, where people love to show the suffering and the hardship and the sadness and the pain of others in order to sort of, then come in as Superman and save them by giving them money or resources or a place to stay. And I want to be careful in not chastising people for the spirit of giving and giving to others. I think that is something that, should very much be applauded, but there is this icky element when you see people in such distress and see people in such suffering and anguish, and it's sort of put online for your consumption and commentary and evaluation. There's an aspect of this where I think people almost feel like the public needs to see people really suffering in order to be willing to help or to engage with the idea of charity. And so if you're somebody who kind of occupies community work in that space, I can understand maybe why you're dealing with that push-pull. But we also can't ignore that there's an aspect of this where I think people are enjoying the online validation and the pat on the back that they receive for being the person who's, collecting the donations and giving this person and curating such a better life for this individual. And that is something that I think we should absolutely be scrutinizing. And not for nothing, I'm sorry, I do think it is really unethical to point a camera in the face of someone who is going through what is likely one of the lowest points of their lives. I think all of us at different degrees have been through situations of deep suffering where we need either physical or emotional or oftentimes financial support. And I can't imagine what it would be like to have that moment and that moment of need broadcast to the public, and to be in such deep need that I have to sort of sacrifice my pride and a little bit of my humanity to receive that help so this person can get the online engagement that they're looking for. I have the same thoughts when it comes to putting a camera in the face of homeless people and people who are in need. You know, there's always these fantastic fundraisers and that's great, but like, do these people receive a portion of the AdSense revenue, or do they receive some of the proceeds of some of the sponsorships that take place on some of these pages? And of course, I know the answer to that 9 times out of 10 is no. And there's this school of thought that these people should be grateful because they're getting these donations, but I think it's worth at least starting to think about the ethics of that and like, what does that mean? Why does this particular individual get to profit off of other people's unfortunate circumstances, and what do they gain from poverty? As somebody who does try to give and who doesn't have a problem sharing with the fact that I try to give when and where I can, I just think I try to be as ethical as possible with it. And my personal sort of guiding code of ethics is that I don't give with stipulations that people need to be visible in my efforts to do outreach. You know, I think that having that sort of understanding of like, okay, well, I'm giving them something, so they need to be willing to get on camera, that's a very seedy thing to do. And I don't think that is truly what the spirit of giving is about. Whether or not the people consent or not, personally, I just don't show people's faces. I don't want to show their faces, share their names, share any personal information, because I don't think people can consciously consent to that when they are in need of the resources and the support that you're providing. And to give credit where credit is due, I think all of this angel tree drama did sort of encourage me and remind me that, you know, I'm an adult with some, not a lot, but some disposable income that I'm happy to use to pay forward to others around the holidays. And so I did not sign up for the Angel Tree program through, I think it's Walmart, but my community has sort of like a similar program that I signed up for. And so I just wanted to share with you guys what my process was like with that. Some of the items I chose to purchase for the person on my list, and hopefully encourage you all to do the same or get involved in some small way in your specific community when it comes to this time of year. I didn't list an age preference, but I did list a gender preference. As a girl, I'm more comfortable shopping with girls. And my list came back with a 16-year-old girl in my community. The request was to provide the child with at least one outfit, and also one of the non-clothing items on their list. I was able to get everything pretty affordably, so I'm gonna show you guys everything. The first thing that my giftee asked for was a fresh pair of shoes, and I remember just how picky high schoolers could be about shoes that are not, you know, name brand or like are unbranded altogether. Like, I remember vividly people getting picked on for that. So I tried to get a pair that is a brand that I hope the kids still like nowadays. I got a pair of Pumas, just plain white with blue bottoms, so they would match a lot of things. And I also grabbed a few pairs of socks to go with them. So I spent about $40 on the sneakers and another $6 on the shoes. The next thing that my giftee asked for was some more shirts and tops. And while I do live in like a warmer climate, I wanted to be kind of mindful of the time of year and also get some items that could be a little bit more flexible. So I've got 2 of these plain Nike t-shirts. One is gray and black, one is black and gray. This is a plain black zip-up hoodie. It's like the super soft material. And then this off-white cream sweatshirt. All of the clothes I got from either TJ Maxx or Ross, with the exception of the socks and the sweatshirts. Those were kind of just extras that I saw on my last trip to Walmart, and I figured they'd be great to throw in as well. And then last but certainly not least, some bottoms. I got her a pair of dark blue straight leg jeans. It's a really soft denim. And then I also got a pair of these lighter wash denim cargo pants. Like I said, I don't really know what the children are wearing nowadays, but I've got a niece who is turning 20 in a couple of weeks, who's in college. So I kind of tried to follow her sort of style aesthetic, because she gets a lot of compliments on her attire, but make it a little bit more universal and adaptable. And also thinking about, like, you know, this is a 16-year-old who's probably going to school and maybe a part-time job. So some items like this, you know, can be worn in a few different settings. As far as her non-clothing, like fun item, she didn't really list too much. She kind of just noted that she was really into taking pictures and would love, you know, a small digital camera or a Polaroid camera. And so I decided to maybe spend a little bit more and just get her one, you know, good big ticket item, which I think is pretty standard for teens. And I went ahead and got her a Kodak Pixa digital camera. I'll put the specific name and like a picture of it on the screen. But this one had pretty good reviews on TikTok, and I felt like it was an appropriate, you know, easy entry camera. With that, I'm also going to maybe include like a disposable camera and a gift card either to Visa or Walgreens, something like $25 to $30, just in case there's any other smaller items that she may want to go and get at the store, and or if she decides to use that little disposable camera and she wants to get the film developed, there's a little bit of extra money for her to be able to do so. Now, the digital camera is still on the way, but I do have to drop all of this stuff off by the first week of December. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this stuff boxed up, wrapped really nicely, and ready to go. That is going to be all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Per usual, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on like sharing and the ethics and the do's and don'ts of like giving around the holidays and sharing that on social media. Like I said, this was just my take and my perspective, so I would love to hear other people's thoughts. I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video, and happy holidays. Bye.